9 races at HQ on Barneswood Farm Soliloquy Stakes Day. Brendan Popperwell is there in Auckland. And what are the conditions you can see there, Brendan? Good morning.
Morena, Jason. Yes, welcome into Ellerslie. Well, a bit breezy, certainly is the case here at Ellerslie, but the sun is out. The track is forever improved as well, as we've noticed throughout the last couple of days, with that track just working its way back from that slow rating dead 6 yesterday and now rated a dead 5. Running rail is out the 9 metres, but gee, the Soliloquy Stakes, Jason, is a race that sets up as a great precursor for those that are heading towards the 1,000 guineas.
Yeah, certainly is. A massive punting day there with the Kiwis Punters Championship heat on Ellerslie, and also the Boys Get Paid group have a big punting day and other massive punting comps at Ellerslie there. They're all set up with their race book, with their Form Pro speed maps, also the jockey classifications. It's all on. Race number 5, the OMF No G 1400 metres. $5.50 for Jip Jip Rock, $6 for Lady Lax, $8.50 for Anne of Paisley and Gino Severini at 9. Money market movers here for race number 5, Steve.
Punters a little nervous, opposing number 11 in Jip Jip Rock in the first 48 hours of trading. Jason, $5.50 off a shortener of $5. She potentially could be the best horse in the race, but first up from a wide gate, A Quarter does the riding. They're willing to spec a couple horses that are up and going, one of them being Lady Lax, who burnt punters at the Bay, but they got rewarded second up at Te Rapa, and they're going again on Lady Lax, even though again it's drawn an awkward gate in barrier 11. Craig Grills does the riding, $9.50 into $6, so again, well supported from the Baker Forsman stable. Your best bet runner is your third favourite, number 12, Annie of Paisley. Again, another runner that's drawn wide, but it's up and going against a few horses here that resume. Open at $11, now trading at $8.50. Lightly progressive mare who's won a couple of races from, 3 starts. And I think she's found her mark around about 8.5, Jason, but as it stands right now, the biggest liability. And a little bit of specking around a Rapuso Rapido, drawn the ace, stepping up to 7 furlongs from the Marsh stable. There's definite improvement second up according to customers, currently at $13.
I was really interested to see horse 21, Langkawi, make the field, and we'll add a bit of speed potentially to this race. It's in orange there. We've got Bravos Brugal, Zaza Gabor and Lady Lax on the Form Pro speed map that might go forward. What were your thoughts here, Brendan?
Yeah, I think there is going to be some movement in the race, Jason. There's a few horses here that want to position up, so Lady Lax drawn out. I mean, that's the problem I have with her today. She drew beautifully and she was too good for her opposition when she won at Te Rapa. She made full use of her barrier draw of 1. So she might look to try and put herself into the race. Yes, Langkawi coming into the race, I think now it becomes a speed influence. I did go for a fresh up runner in the race, and I went with Gino Severini. This is the horse trained by Wallace and Cooksley. Now, the tongue tie is on for this runner. Did go to the jump outs on the 23rd of September and did beat Rio Dini. Now, Rio Dini has come out and won yesterday impressively out of Tauranga, and then post that has come out and won a trial, which was over 1,000 metres out of Avondale, and did it nicely as well. He's a horse that's always shown some good talent, well-travelled animal, of course raced in Ireland, then Hong Kong, and now here in NZ. So happy just to take a little risk on him at his price, and Gino Severini. The 12 and Anne of Paisley, awkward barrier draw, but I think it's a horse who's got something about her, the daughter of Ekra. Jib Jib Rock, certainly in my numbers because of her high quality that she did show from last season. But yeah, happy to take a little risk on the 5 and Gino Severini at the each way.
Yeah, like the angle there, Brendan, and pulling out a little bit of jump out intel. Nice. Race number 6. This is how the market stacks up for the next on the program. It's the Stella Artois Fast Track 5K 1400. Hanger is at $3.30. Supera $3.50. Victor Vegas at $6.50. Is the market telling you much here, Stephen? I found this a very niggly race from a speed perspective.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were coming into today willing to back the mitigator, but now he's been withdrawn this morning and likely contest at Te Rapa over 1,600 metres. It's just left a few punters scratching their head, and that's resulted in a lack of turnover. The best lead I can give is number 1, Supera. She might be just too good, even though she's first up with 60 on her back. $3.50. She sits in that second line of betting. From what I'm seeing, singles and multis, she could close favourite in front of Hanger, who's drawn a tricky gate in barrier 10 and little money to speak of around the James Wellwood runner. Victor Vegas, 11. Now, a lot of these opening lines have come in, so just trying to give you the best lead with deductions. Victor Vegas has been well supported this morning, 7 to 6.50. Watch this space, solid at that double figure quote at $11. And also a little bit of specking for Tiptronic with the improvement track, 17 to 15. That's only just happened the last hour or so. So tricky race. This market might develop more later on this afternoon, but currently Superior a slight lead on her.
Okay, this is how Form Pro has the map. Tiptronic Battle Time. You'd expect Battle Time to be positively ridden with Te Toro Pearl in particular. Not quite sure about Tiptronic. What are you thinking here, BP, from a speed perspective?
I think he can take a spot, Jason. I've got him going forward with what's happened to the race now is we've seen the maiden speed influence who drew barrier number 1 and the mitigator coming out of the race. Does set up for something to really take this race by the scruff of the neck. I thought it could have been him. Look, he is Group 1 placed over more distance in 2,000 metres in a Herbie Dyke. I know he's looking for these type of track conditions. He's a duffer on anything worse than slow. So is he a chance of taking this race and going forward? Yes, he is. The other horse that we mentioned there, Battle Time, can go forward. And maybe Te Toro Pearl. So if there's enough genuine speed in the race, I think with some key scratchings out of this market, it could set up for hanger, but it also could be a tricky watch if you are on hanger as well, if something lands there and then they sort of button off. Superior is the class horse in the race. I think she will win a very good race, and she's a horse that's got a good Group 1 race in her. We've seen her run second already at the Group 1 level in the New Zealand Thoroughbred Breeders, and then just beat them very easily in the Travis Stakes before being tipped out for a spell. I'm just wary today, 1,400 metres, 60 kilos. That's the only question mark I have, but I know she's class, and you can never doubt a class horse. I'll go with the 9 on top, though, in hanger, but I thought maybe the each-way play in the race, it could be Tiptronic if he finds that front and does get it easy in front.
And Michael Coleman, the guest of the Punters Lounge Live from earlier on, was pretty happy with Superior and the horse that was going to present today, and he won't be surprised if she turns up and does a number of them. Does a number on them rather in race number 6 and takes it out. Race number 7, it's at 82 1600. Vigor Winner is 360. Artiste is at 550. Intrigue is in between them market-wise at 5. We've seen Vigor Winner Stephen Hunt attract a lot of support at various stages throughout his career. Are they waiting to launch? Have they launched? Do you think they will?
You make a good point around Vigor Winner, the fact that he's been one of the best bat runners on every race he's contested, particularly throughout his 3-year-old year, and even in his early stages of his 4-year-old year when he was contesting those races at the Bay. Thus far, we haven't seen that sort of money flow for Vigor Winner, Jason. It is climbing, but during the week he was quite friendless, and it might have to do with the 1,600 metres. He's yet to tick that box, Vigor Winner. And they are willing to spec a couple of horses around him, one of them being Artiste, who was well supported during the week, 8 into $5.50. Intrigue back to the second favourite, solid at $5, don't get put off. Intrigue second up. Go Nicholas, been specced at longer odds, 17, got as short as 14 this morning, now as short as $12. So even coming a couple of points from this morning has been Go Nicholas. Iraqi Overlord, BP's one of his old faves, has drawn barrier 1, hasn't drawn again its last couple. I'm sure Jonathan Riddell will use that ace draw to put this horse in the calculation in terms of speed maps. Iraqi Overlord currently a losing reliability at $12, and also a little bit of specking around Tightline and Justin May. So there's 4 or 5 they're willing to back at this stage against the favourite and Vigor Winner.
Yeah, it's just what sort of horse will present today after that Tarzino performance where the tactics were quite extraordinary between it and what happened with Crown Prosecutor. We've seen Crown Prosecutor Brendan Popple come out of that and run a super race in the Spring Classic before, unfortunately, things not working out pre-Caulfield Cup. So, yeah, what are you thinking here?
Look, I think he's the one to beat, Vigor Winner, without a doubt. This is a deep rating, 82, isn't it? I mean, I think Intrigue is a horse that I'll be wanting to back throughout the preparation as well. I thought there was enough in the run first up from Intrigue as well for the Tony Pike barn. When beaten at Hawke's Bay fresh up, she can be a good improver. I think Tightline is a horse that will be better suited to maybe Ellerslie in these conditions here as well. Clementina's a stakes performer from last season as well and got things back on track with a win out of Te Teko. I am going to go with Oraki Overlord though. Drawn in barrier number 1. And this horse can position up. We saw that when Opie Bosson took the race by the scruff of the neck at Ruakaka, went forward and held out Supreme Heights, who's gone on with the job since then. I don't think the horse liked Tadapa at all. I think the runner got back and did very well to actually finish into 4th position. It looked like he was floundering at one stage, and he's been able to pick himself up and finish into 4th spot. I think he can get a very good run in the race, either in front or in behind. That sets him up for being a great prospect. That 12s and 350. I've marked him on top. When you've got Kingswell Dream form around you, who lines up in the Cox Plate, it's good enough for me today around him. Number 4, Oraki Overlord. To beat the 6 and Vigor winner, without a doubt, he is the horse to beat in the race with what he's shown from last season. A dead heat winner in the Cambridge Breeders, and very good on day number 1 of the Hawke's Bay Carnival, beaten at Group 1 Company when last presented.
It's a super betting race, that rating 82. It's the exact type of rating 82 you'd want to see at this time of the year. They certainly have attracted a top field for it, a challenging one. But that's what you want when you're sifting through the form. This is the soliloquy market, updated for you now. $3.60 for Travelling Light, $5.50 for Aretha, Bavella at 7 with Sorrentina and Loire, both at $8. Looking down the page, you've got Diamonds Galore at 17. It was very good, winning second up, wasn't she, at Avondale? Any Song at big odds with London Bound making the field. Now that's at 30 to 1. How forgiving can you be of London Bound? Do you use that forgiveness card one more time and say that she can find the level necessary to win the soliloquy? Any updates on what the market's doing here since you touched on it early in the program, Stephen?
Yeah, as I declared at the top of the show, number 7, Travelling Light, best back runner on the card at HQ, and it continues to flow. $3.70 hour or so ago now, travelling at $3.60. If you want to back outsider, though, it's quite a deep field. There's 4 or 5 they're willing to spec, but clearly Travelling Light, in terms of investments around the top 3 in betting, she holds 3 times more money than Aretha, but Aretha has been solid in that second line at 5.5. Bavella, 6 out to $7. Sorrentina, just where she maps, might be of a concern from barrier 13, 7 out to $8. Loire, I think Punters just waiting for this horse to get to Riccarton over 1,600 metres. Friendless today, $7.50 out to 8. Jennifer Eccles in this middle market has been well spec. She deserves some luck, gold Jennifer Eccles. Got as high as 14, travelling at $12. Has to be good. Another horse that's been well spec'd and currently a losing liability, 14 into 13. And Flaunting, if you want one to really spice up exotic bet types, Jason, opened at 26 when betting commenced on Wednesday, now travelling at 17. But at the top of the book, that is where your favourite and best back runner is, the unbeaten Travelling Light.
Here's the map, and brought to you by Form Pro. Bit of speed on the inside here, Brendan Popper, with Familiar, Travelling Light and Aretha. You'd expect that the jockeys will be trying to position them accordingly. And then, gee, the runners drawn outside of 7, do they just slot back? And if that's the case, will there be much speed in the race?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, that was the one worrying thing I had about this race, was that what was going to come from out wide to be able to inject something into the race, because you could find Aretha lands there very, very easily. We saw the horse land there, of course, in the Gold Trail Stakes. Travelling Light has a great chance to be able to take his position up on tempo. Does everybody find their positions quite early in the running of this race? So that is the problem for horses that are getting back and wanting to run on, and obviously have got their eyes on races like the 1,600 metre feature at Riccarton being the 1,000 guineas. So for that being the case, I have gone with Travelling Light. I think she's a horse who has gone off the back of that Taupo victory where she impressed many, and then won with a turn of foot on heavy track conditions, where I think if she did take on some of those big guns that did scratch from the race, I still think she would have beaten them. She was that impressive on that occasion at Matamata. She has to step it up again today, but I think from what I've seen, she is more than capable of doing that. So I'm putting the 7 on top. I've got Loire in the mix, like Stephen Hunt pretty much mentioned there. I think we're all waiting for her to get to Riccarton over 1,600 metres so she can gobble up the distance there and on a big roomy track. But don't be surprised if she's booming home in the race today as well, if the things happen up front for her. The one Aretha who can be given the sweet trip in the run, go forward, as we saw the horse boxing on strongly to hold out that late challenge from Bavella in the Gold Trail. And I've put the 8 and Has to Be Good maybe as a horse who could be, again, one of those closers in the race. Does have a slightly better draw here, so it means that the horse can be in a better part of the race than maybe where she was when she was at Hawke's Bay when last presented. Heck of a race. The Barneswood Farm Soliloquy Stakes will know more around the 1,000 guineas post this race.
Okay, Brendan, the $100 spin for you today?
Yes, certainly got thrown up in the air a little bit with the mitigator coming out this afternoon. So I've changed my best bet to Hanger, who's in the same race. I need things to go my way for Hanger to win that race off an awkward draw, but I just felt as though with him being up and running, compared to Supera, who's got the class edge on them, I'm going to go with him. I nearly went Zentari as my best today. I thought this horse was a cracking bet today in race number 3. Had to sustain a long run at Te Rapa from back in the field and was able to finish into 3rd position and beat Hanua Hank. This horse is $8.50, Hanua Hank's $4, so I'm happy to be on Zentari today in race number 3. I'm going to give Quiz Kid another chance in the first race of the day today. He's around $6 or $7. He is better than what he showed last time to the races. They've made some key gear adjustments for him, so I'm happy to have something on him. Zentari each way, Gino Severini to win, Hanger to win race number 6, and Oraki Overlord each way in race number 7. We kick the day off with the Auckland Co-op Taxis race number 1, Jason, and that's set down to start at 12:28.